Hello everyone, and sorry for a short delay. So we're back this week uh, with our Hyperliquid Arbitrage project, and I have like a cool new update. Over weekend I was still working on this new dashboard here. So I want to show some new updates regarding the dashboard, and also I want to mention that my arbitrage bot and the dashboard you can now download on my website. So now the all the technology or all the code that we've written last week you can now download from my website. Let me show you, some small changes that I've added. So here, this is our main dashboard. So what we've added on the left side is a sidebar with some new applications. And so disregard the unrealized P&L right now because the US stocks right now are closed and the hyperliquid ones are open. So we have some small discrepancy in the unrealized P&L until US market open. But let me show you my new app, with the P&L report. So this app, what it does is you can select a time period and it will then generate a report with the P&L, realized P&L for every day, which includes commission, funding rates, and swaps. So if we like run, you know, an analysis for the past week, right? We can then here have a look at the P&L result. So during the initial testing phases, we lost some money because we had some bugs and some unhedged positions. So here you can see some losses. And then I think on Thursday we then like deployed the arbitrage strategy properly. So on Thursday here you can see that we made $9 US, and then on Friday, which is the 29th, we made $15. And so you might ask, like, on which symbols? So we can also, for example, filter by the symbol pair, right? So we are, in this case, we'd be arbitraging SP500 on Hyperliquid against SP500 on IC markets. And so in this case, you can see the breakdown of P&L for each individual strategy, right? And so what we can also do is like there's this feature, like if I go back to all symbols, I can also group by symbol pair. So then I will have a detailed breakdown of my strategies for each date and each symbol. So here you can then see, how much we've made, on each individual strategy. And so this is the current P&L report that I've added. And the other app that I want to show you is the historical spread. So now instead of going to a Jupyter notebook, because some of you guys ask, how does this arbitrage look, for example, on a certain asset, right? And what we did is we went to our Jupyter notebook and then we computed the spread, right? So here we have the difference between, what asset is this? Yeah, XY0, Euro USD. So here you can see the difference in price and here the spread. So now you have the option to, just specify the symbol and then it will generate this historical spread, which is pretty cool. So for example, if I want to look at XYZ SP500, right? So we're going to use compute the historical spread on S&P 500. So now what we have here is, let me try to reset the axis. So here we have the historical spread on S&P 500. So here we see the historical price, and here you can see, the spread. So now you see, how we made profit on Friday, because on Friday on S&P 500 we went long at -4, and then in the afternoon the spread increased to around 0, so we exited at around -1. So that's how we were able to close our position in a profit. So this is the app, and so by the way, so if you check the descriptions here, right? So this is an update for members. So now, guys, if you are subscribed to the membership on my website, you can now download these apps, right? So the trading bot and this dashboard. And here in the comments, you can see, exactly step by step what you need to do. So you will need a hyperliquid MT5 trading account. You will also need um, the hyperliquid MT5 account. And if you also want to trade like 24/7 or 24/5 remotely, you'll also need a virtual private server. And then once you download the files, you will basically see everything that I have coded here. So this is the project that I'm sharing with you. So this is just a quick update about the new changes. And so let's have a look at the trades today. So what can we trade today? We'll have a look at new trading opportunities and see what what trades setups we can find. And so I decided to today close the NVIDIA and Apple trades, right? So during initial testing, I wanted to, show some examples, how to open a trade or like a hedge between those two exchanges. So today, I'm going to, close Apple and NVIDIA. And so today we're going to focus on strategies that will provide us with the highest return. So today, my partner will deposit an additional 4,000 US dollars. So we'll be trading with 10,000 US dollars from now on. I assume that the strategy is tested enough already. So we're going to trade with a 10K account and see how far we'll get. All right, and now I see that my algorithm. So right now my trading strategy is already running on one of my virtual private servers. So here I can see that we are submitting a close long. So we're selling basically. We're still trying to exit our remaining position, which here is like a very small one, 0.053. So let's see if we can, exit that. And so we're going to run through different symbols here and see, what opportunities we'll have today and run some backtesting. Hi, how much is the membership fee for your community? Currently, it's let me just write it down. Currently, it's 34.89 euro per month. So thank you for asking. So you'll get access, to my courses, my training bots, and the Discord community server. So it's all included in a single membership. So you can also read more about it on my website here. So here I have like my membership link, and here you can find all the details. Okay, so today we're already plus 4.4 US dollars in the realized P&L. And if you look at our open positions, we see that we closed, some trades in profit today. And we also have plus 1.91 in funding rates, right? So we have open position where we have the funding. And so if you look at, let's say, SP500, I think it's this one. Or I think it's actually NVIDIA actually has the high funding rate. So let's actually compare NVIDIA. So as I've mentioned, NVIDIA on MT5 is still closed. So here the unrealized P&L is still not accurate. So when the market opens, we'll have roughly a similar P&L, right? So we'll have to wait. But here on NVIDIA, you can see that here we made plus 1.71 realized in the funding. And that is because right now or over the past, week, NVIDIA funding rates were very high. They were hovering between like now you can see 18% or 30%. So by shorting NVIDIA, we had also like very good hourly funding rates. And so if you're asking what these funding rates do, is that on Hyperliquid, whenever you have a position open, there are like funding rate mechanisms where you receive or lose money every hour. And in case of NVIDIA, because the funding rates are positive here, which means when the funding rate is positive and you are short, you will make money, right? So that's what it means. So let me try to maybe filter just by NVIDIA. Let's see if we have a filter here. So here we have our NVIDIA, and you see that for the most part in NVIDIA, our funding rates were almost always positive. So this is, you know, how we made money on NVIDIA here. So this is like pretty good. But as I've mentioned, NVIDIA on MT5 is open 8 hours, and so today I want to focus on trading strategies that you can basically trade, yeah, almost every day, right? So why should you trade 8 hours if you can trade 24 hours a day and you have an automated trading strategy? So this is today's goal. And as I mentioned, so now our trading bot on S&P 500 is running. We tried to exit the trade, and we have some small exposure on JP225, but it's almost negligible because if you look, my JP225 basically is already close to 75, and that is because there's like a small fraction. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at, or just again, do some quick screening on the yeah, hyperliquid assets and see if there is potentially, you know, an asset with a high funding rate. Otherwise, we can just, you know, run a normal arbitrage strategy that tries to scalp the spread, you know, like intraday. But sometimes, you know, the funding rates can be very high, so it's like interesting to, you know, check if there's something interesting for us. And of course, like probably this week, what I'm going to focus on is I'm going to focus on also creating like a market screener, right? Where I can like list these funding rates where they will then give me like real trading signals, right? So so here, if I check USDJPY, like here the 24-hour volume is 912,000, right? But here we see that here the annualized uh, funding rate is minus 12%. So it means if you go long, you will make money, right? So here we check the trades. Here we see the JPYs. So that might be interesting. And then here we have Brent oil. This is 13%. All right. So I think for today's session, what we can do is we can focus again on JP225. The volume is not great, right? It's just 350, but here the funding rate is 140%. So last week we turned on this strategy on JP225. So I'm actually also going to trade that strategy today. And like in front of stream, I will just use my IDE so you can see exactly, you know, how to do it, but then I can also show you how to do it on a virtual private server. So here we have our trading bot, right? So currently here we have V1. So here I have a folder with the list of strategies, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy the folder from here. I'm going to put in my strategy folder and I'm going to call it JP225. So we're going to trade this strategy again like last week. JP225 had quite a good return. And so we can also like check the PNL of that strategy, right? So if you just look at JP225 for the past week, also maybe I can, yeah. So this was JP225 for the past week. In total, we made $10 last week, which is like pretty good considering it's just 1 week, right? We've traded JP225 on an account size of like 5 or 6,000 US dollars. Plus, you know, we had also other strategies running, right? So in total, how much we made last week was plus 27. Well, excluding today, so Let me just filter just for the last week. And so last week we made $20. Like we made $20 on a 6K account, which is really good, because if we make $20 every week, right, times 52, that would be like $1,000. And if we divide it, by 6,000, so roughly it's 17%. But we also did not go like fully allocate our entire margin into the trading because we are still testing. And most of the trading was also done in the last 2 days, right? Because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we were still like writing the code, right? The trading bot did not exist on Monday. We started writing this project last week on Monday. And so it started trading seriously on the 28th and the 29th. And so yes, I want to show you the performance of JP225. So here it's plus $2, then we had -2, +3, and then plus 6.9. So this is the result. And so yeah, so here I'm going to show you how to set up the strategy. So here in strategy settings, we already have a template for JP225, and let's see. And I already like created like the exposures here. So I think we can keep the settings pretty much the same. Let me look at the current spread, right? It's 114, the price is 67,000, and here JP225. Yeah, so definitely 669, 67. So it's definitely like overvalued here. So let me just review the settings, and then we should be fine. I think I'm gonna, change the settings here, and then like we can go to the backtesting part, and then like we can try to find some optimum parameters. But right now, I know that we can make money like right now, instantly. Not instantly, like by opening a trade, we are locking in the profits, and so I just want to show how to enter the trade here. Okay, so here I'm just reviewing the settings. I think we should be fine. Also here I added trading sessions, right? So here in trading sessions, I can also specify the trading hours. And okay, let's disregard the trading sessions for now. I still need to do some changes. So here I'm just going to run my MT5 hedger. So my MT5 hedger basically hedges the exposure between Hyperliquid and MT5 here. It's just asking me if I want to proceed. So I just type yes. And so now we are starting and checking our exposure on JP225. And so then what I can do is I can also go to my train bot, and my train bot will just run this. And of course here I also want to start my train bot, and I believe that right now it should then try to set settlement orders once it initializes. All right, so it wants me to authenticate. Let me just authenticate the access to my Hyperliquid account, and so that's just my two-factor authentication. Right. Okay, so now we can like clearly see what's going on here. Let's see. Okay, I have like a small bug here, right? What's happening here is that if we, like this bot is trading to receive market data from JP225, but because this market is so illiquid, right? It's just 350,000 volume for today. It's not receiving any market data during this period, and it crashes. So what helps is usually just restart and hoping that you'll receive some price data update. So JP225 is a strategy that, like highly liquid, which means you can't trade much volume on this pair, but the money that you do invest into this strategy has very high return right now, right? Because here the price discrepancy is like really huge. So like a rule of thumb, if the liquidity on the market is low, there is higher inefficiency, and so there is a higher profit potential. But because the liquidity is low, you can't invest too much money into it. But for traders, for example, who are lowly capitalized and let's say like below 10,000 US dollars, this is actually a strategy that you might want to trade, because then with low capital, you can like invest almost everything into this strategy and like have very high yields compared to, you know, rich traders or banks, you know, who actually almost do not care about this, right? Because if you're able to make a few $100s per month on this strategy on a small account, it's great, but a few $100s or a few $1,000s for a hedge fund means almost nothing, right? So I think this is like something that retail traders can actually capitalize on and have a lot of, you know, and like make good returns. So you can also see like my arbitrage bot trading last week, right? So these are all the buys and sells that we have placed last week. It looks like really cool because there are a lot of like these S and Bs, which show the trading activity of my trading bot on this account. Hello, why are you adding more money when you have improved its profit? Just curious, thanks. I mean, I have made money, right? Last week, on all the strategies, I have made money. Realized plus 20. So of course, it's just 1 week, but if you like understand the concept of arbitrage, right? Here we have like an almost risk-free setup. So I would argue that I have proven that I have made money in the past, and you can see in the dashboard here. If you want me to export the historical trades from Hyperliquid MT5, let me know via email and I can provide that too. So yeah, I would disagree. And for those of you who are still skeptical, and that's okay, if you're skeptical, uh, just keep watching, right? So I will keep trading most of the days during the week, and like in a week or a month or the end of the year, I will keep trading on this account, and I will prove to you that I will actually consistently make money. Maybe not week by week, right? Most of the weeks I should be able to make money, but I will definitely prove to you that I am a consistent trader. And so maybe if you have some doubts, right, it's okay to ask, right? Why would you think that I haven't proven yet? What are the uh, like criteria for you to actually, you know, be convinced that the strategy works? So I'm curious, you know, to know why you might think that. And so feel free, you know, to let me know, and I will try to tackle those doubts to ensure, right, that you guys feel comfortable, right? So whenever you trade any trading strategy, you want to have full conviction, like you want to be confident that you're going to make money over time, right? So, and I'm like pretty confident. And if you guys are not confident, I'm happy to clarify that. Hey, heard last time you are in Prague. Are you working there? Yes. So I am based in Prague. And like I have my own trading company, and so I live stream during my free time. So yeah, I see your name is Josef Horak, so I assume you're also Czech, so welcome to the stream. Vítej na live streamu, rád tě tady vidím. And yeah, great to have also some Czech people on the live stream here. So yeah, yeah, I wanted to enable the JP225. So here we have this aborting after 10 seconds. I think I should increase this sleep function by, let's say, let's add a minute. So let me first apply some updates on the trading bot here. And let's scroll down. Oh, it's actually, I think, updated. So I think, yeah, let's just apply a 300-second pause. And so this bot will run for 5 minutes, and I hope to, you know, catch a tick on JP225. Today also seems to be like less active, right? I also need maybe to double check if JP225 is open today. It could be that the market is closed, but I believe that it should definitely be open. And of course, like we're trading the afternoon, right? So I would like assume that the Japanese index trades during the Asian session, which is also true. So yeah, maybe I should have also, run it overnight. Okay, so now it's gonna wait for a tick from JP225. We're going to wait 5 minutes. Hopefully the strategy will start. And like as I said, in the meantime, our SP500 strategy is still running. And so if we catch a trade, we'll catch a trade basically. As personal from CS background, how can I understand finance terms where can I learn market knowledge? Well, you know what they say, right? It's easier for someone to teach finance than teach someone how to program. So definitely you are ahead in that skill set. And I think when it comes to like trading, you should maybe like specialize in one single strategy, right? Because in finance, there are like a lot of things that you can learn. You can like learn to trade forex, indices, commodities, oil, and so right. So these are like more like strategy for symbols, and actually that's a bad example because I trade like all various like assets. But what I mean by that is like learn one system only, right? And try to understand the edge of that single system. So in our case, we're learning arbitrage. We're trying to buy for cheap and sell for expensive on different exchanges, right? So here you're looking at the pricing of assets on Hyperliquid and MT5, and we're just checking the differences. So all this string bot is doing is it tries to buy, let's say, SP500 Hyperliquid for a better price, for a cheaper price, and then sell it on MT5 for a higher price. And over time, these discrepancies will even out and we will make a profit. So you should not worry about learning too many things, right? You should not learn. If you're interested in arbitrage trading, don't learn price action. Don't worry about manual trading, right? Don't watch like influencers or educators who try to teach you something different. So choose one strategy, try to learn it, and as you're learning and as you trade it, you will eventually learn the fundamentals of trading over time, right? Because every day there is something new, but trading on its own is like pretty simple. Just buy for low and sell for high, and that's what we're doing by just comparing the relative value of two assets. And so here we have another question: to calculate and plot the spread, are you using the 1-minute candles from both exchanges? Yes, that's correct. So here I am just taking the 1-minute OHLC from Hyperliquid, the 1-minute OHLC from MT5, and then here these are the like open prices from Hyperliquid, and here the spread here is just a difference between those two curves. That's what I'm doing. And in this app, like we can also like specify different time frames, but I like the precision of 1 minute. And so this app is based on the notebook that I have like create here, like calculate historical spread. So here last week we coded this notebook, and so I decided to just, I told Claude, take this notebook and create into an app, and then Claude added it into this dashboard here. Guys, all my trading in the circle advised me, by the way, Panama or Vietnam. What should I choose? Permanently moving out, guys. I don't think I can help you with that question. I'm from Vietnam. I can tell you that Vietnam is a nice country. I've never been to Panama, so can't comment on that. The events other market knowledge from math, screw indicators. Well, an indicator is basically just a mathematical representation of historical charts, right? But yeah, everyone has their own approach. Yeah, so there's this discussion is that I asked you one question: how do you account for spreads when redeeming profits? Because one account is going to lose money. That is correct. So part of the strategy is that you're going to have a winner on one side and a loser on another side, right? So right now, if you look at any position that we have, whatever is in loss or profit here will be inverted on this other side. And so part of the strategy is that you need to make sure that you have enough money or margin to sustain those positions and to make sure that you are able to trade these or hold these positions without getting margin called or stopped out. So that's part of the strategy. And then like over time, when you have like too much money on the account, right, you would withdraw it, rebalance that, and like deposit it on this other account. So I always have extra funds ready to deposit in case I run low on margin. And so right now, one of the projects that I have is that uh, uh, I'm currently, you know, partnering with a broker who also accepts USDC deposits and withdrawals. So USDC is a stable coin for the US dollar, and so because it's traded, as a crypto asset on the blockchain, you can have very fast deposit and withdrawals, which is amazing. So in theory, I could rebalance the account between my Hyperliquid account by directly withdrawing from Hyperliquid and sending that to my USDC broker. So this is like something I'm working on. And so now you see, while we were discussing, or answering the questions, right now my trading bot on JP225 went short. So we're now short 0.05. And on MT5, we can also see that we are also 6 long. Let me also ask my partner regarding the deposits. Tungo, ty deposity zprocesuješ, ne? Jo, protože na ATJ Research je potřeba 6 000. My research account. Okay. Oh, you did it just now. Oh, sorry. Okay, that's fine then. Sorry about that. Cool. Just needed to clarify some misunderstandings. So money's on the way. And so on my IC account, and on my IC trading account, it's also going to be plus 2K, right? It should be there. Because there is 4,600 right now. Yeah, that's okay. Everything's great. Everything's good. Thank you. So let's check the dashboard. Great. Everything's fine. It's just updated. Thank you. Right. So here, so finally, the deposit arrived. I had to, just clarify some things with my partner. The money just arrived, and everything is great. So now our total allocation on this account is $10,000, and I'm just gonna keep it that way, and see how the strategy works. Of course, guys, while I'm trading this, of course, I have my other main trading accounts, some in the background, but of course, due to security reasons, I'm not going to share, my entire account that I have on Hyperliquid MT5, right? So this is more like for a live stream, so you guys can see, sort of how I trade, but I have my own algos running, somewhere else also at the same time. Okay, let's reply to some more questions. And have you ever done arbitrage betting in the sports betting world? No, I never done sports betting, but I know that it's available on the prediction markets. So I'm planning to, look at poly markets and Kalashi, but mainly focus on the financial stuff, right? So not sports betting, but like just trading normal financial assets. And so here's another comment. 1 minute OHLC is wrong. If you trade big capital, you don't get optimal fills even. Yes, that is correct. So that's of course a very good point, that 1 minute candles are not precise, and these are just snapshots. So so the thing how to tackle that is that we can, for example, create like our own like a monitoring system where we can save 1 second snapshot or like sub-second snapshots, and then construct the historical spread or prices using the data. But the 1 minute candles, give you like a rough idea where price is, currently at. So you are not guaranteed to have fills because first of all, we provide maker orders. So just because your order is at top of book, it doesn't mean that you're going to get filled. And yeah, so that's a good point. But it's, for me, it's like at least good enough to see where price is roughly right now, so I can like decide where to buy and sell. And okay, so we got filled on JP225. Right now, my margin that I allocated on this strategy is just 600. And because we have 10,000, I'm thinking of like really pushing JP225. I'm actually thinking to maybe do like a 10x in exposure, right? So maybe I can trade like 0.5. I just need to, verify the volatility of this market, right? So the thing, as you've mentioned, is that we have two accounts, right? And because we have two accounts running, we run the danger of a margin call. And so at no point we want to risk liquidation, right? And to avoid liquidation, you need to manage your position size accordingly. And here we have the liquidation price. So if JP225 increases to 78, we will get liquidated. And I think for today, it's more than enough because we can always exit earlier, right? Maybe at a slight loss, but we can definitely increase the exposure on this one. So how about I just increase it by 5-fold for now, right? We can easily increase the exposure. All right, and also what I did, and that's a mistake on my side. Hopefully I did not lose too much money. My hedge bot has a limit, right? It's a limit on lots. It's like a security feature, so I don't lose too much money. But it seems that it's actually okay, right? So nothing too bad happened right now. Um, all right, so what I need to do here just to fix it is here in strategy settings, when I entered the trade on JP225, well, first I wanted to increase my exposure, right? So I'm going to increase the exposure by 5-fold. And so here I need to provide the maximum amount of lots that I'm allowed to trade on MT5. And so I'm not like too worried, right? I can just provide 500 because this is just a security measure. So I just provide a large value in case my trading bot, does something stupid. So here I can just restart my trading bot, and now we're trying to build exposure on JP225 to now be 5-fold. Okay, back to some questions. Gdy w pracy CDD podle kancelarzy wypada trochę jako Scott Weber. Right, I will keep the conversation in Czech because there are like, of course, English-speaking viewers. So Josef asked where I'm based, and he thinks that I'm in an office that looks like some Scott Weber is renting offices. So I'm based in Prague, Prague 5, near Stodulki. So it's basically just Prague. It's a little office that I have here. Okay, Obsidia asked, or just mentioned, let's read through the other comments. In terms of the best strategies, my sharing gems. You guys don't be misled with high RI, they all decay faster in the long run. Thank you. Right, I'm trying to be honest. What you see here is like live trading. And so I'm not trying to convince anyone, right? So anyone who comes to live stream can just look at the live P&L results. You can go to my website, read about the articles, how the strategy works. And I'm just going to prove to you that it works simply by trading, right? And there are days I might make a loss, right? In extreme cases, I might get liquidated if I'm not careful enough. Sometimes if I risk liquidation, right, I have to close my positions early. But so far, we're looking good, right? So far, we're looking good. When can we exit polymarket content? So my current project is to like finish my project on Hyperliquid. There are still a lot of things that I need to implement for Hyperliquid, and so now it's mainly like working on the dashboard, the backtesting, and the optimization. Because the strategies I'm showing you right now are just like simple sort of discretionary strategies, right? All I'm doing is I'm just screening the symbols manually. I'm looking at high funding rates, and I just discretionally, for example, look at the spreads. Sorry, you don't need that anymore. I discretion look at the spreads, right, and see, okay, this looks low. I can buy at this level and I can sell at this level, for example. So a lot of the strategies that you're seeing right now is just me sort of winging it, just doing whatever, and like that's also fine, right? Because this is the best way to actually understand the strategy is actually by thinking, right? By thinking what to do yourself. So you have to think about in strategy settings, like what symbols you have to add, right? You have to think about the contract sizes, how much volume you want to add. This is like the risk management position sizing, where you want to enter and exit and stuff like that. And so, well, now I'm ranting in too much, but so we need to work on backtesting and optimization, some extra risk features for Hyperliquid, and then I'm also have a look at the other dexes like Lighter, Aster, Paradex, and so on. So I will also build arbitrage strategies on these other dexes, and then maybe by the end of the year I will have time to look at prediction markets such as Polymarket. So let's continue with the questions. I believe you're not using any leverage. In case I want to start paper trading, how can I estimate the fees? So actually, quite the opposite. We are using leverage, right? So we're using or we're trading perpetual futures on Hyperliquid. So these are leverage products, and leverage is good here, right? Because you want to maximize your profits with this arbitrage. So here we're trading with leverage, and also MT5. These are CFDs, right? They're leveraged. And so if you want to start with paper trading, how can I estimate the fees? So you can easily compute the fees by going to the fee section here on Hyperliquid, right? And here you can easily compute how much the estimated fee is. And also MT5. On MT5, you have the fee history written down. So here, if you look at the commission, you will find a commission. On MT5, some assets have commission, right? Like here, here, and here. And some assets do not have commission, right? You only pay the spread with this broker. And so the best way to just check the profitability and commission is just to, look at the trade history and see how much you're paying. And so here on JP225, for example, you see that I paid 2 cents for opening like a 0.01 position. Let me check my trading bot. I'm not sure if it's running because, of course, I forgot to turn it on. And here I also need to turn on my hedge bot. So please make sure to turn your trading strategies if you want to trade. And so yeah, now the trading strategy is running. So hopefully we'll have we'll increase the position size on JP225. Funding rates again very beautiful, 110% annual like implied rate, which is paid to us hourly. And so if you guys last for another 13 minutes on this live stream, you will see that in 13 minutes or 12 minutes and 52 seconds, we're going to make some money on the funding rate, right? On Hyperliquid, you make money on the funding rates every hour. And right now, as I've mentioned, the funding rate is positive, which means short positions will make money. ATJ, the best man. Always know what you're doing, man. Thank you, man. Thank you for a nice comment. Glad that you appreciate it. Kill switch, that's good for bot. Yes, I should add a kill switch. So right now the kill switch is me pressing on this X button, right? That would be the kill switch right now. But if I'm somewhere away, maybe I want to create like a web app where I can kill it remotely, maybe from my phone. So that's definitely something that we can build this week. Okay, another question, eCryptoBots asks, all your strategies are arbitrage related? Yes, I focus mainly on arbitrage now or pair trading strategies. So I just all I do is I look at the relative value of two assets, and then I just try to arbitrage it. That's all. Okay, another comment. Don't do poly market, please. It's a losing game. It's not exponential game. Always that. And maybe if you exploit things like latency, but it's always saturated here. The thing is, you never know, right? Like personally, like maybe you're right. Like there's a high chance that you're right, and you cannot exploit poly market. But you should always give it a try. If I never went to hyperliquid and never analyzed the price discrepancies, I would have never found arbitrage. And some may have told me hyperliquid is hyperliquid, right? There is no way you can arbitrage. There are only big players, only big market makers. But look at what we're doing here right now. We're making money on an arbitrage just because we tried. So maybe one advice I have for you guys is that don't assume that something already is too saturated or too efficient. You should always try for yourself and see if it's true, right? And and in my opinion, there should be some edge on polymarket. There should be, and we'll see, right? Once I have time, and once I can dedicate some time to the project. Okay. So right now, again, as you can see, maybe I should maybe review the script on JP225. So we're still waiting for a tick, right, to start the trading bot. It's like a confirmation that the bot is connected, right? We wait for some price event, and so sadly nothing's happening. Okay, it seems that I received a rate limited alert. Let me see. Okay, I guess it should be fine, but I have to double confirm that. Okay, so while we're trading JP225 again, let me also screen some other assets that we can trade. Like I was thinking about EURUSD, right? EURUSD sounds like pretty cool. It's like I think this should also be doable. And like the liquidity is not that high, right? It's 1.2 million. But again, for a small trading account, this could be fine. But as I mentioned, I want to focus on JP225 today. So I will allocate most of my margin for JP225. Again, simply because the funding rates are again very attractive. And so what this means, right? Annualized 100%. So if you open a JP225 position that's worth 10,000 US dollars, right? A 10,000 US dollar position. By the end of the year, if you make 100%, you will make $10,000 in funding rates. That's what 100% means, just double it. And of course, this 100% is not always constant. Like when the discrepancy is high, the funding will increase, and when it's low, so basically when the prices align are the same on both exchanges, they will just revert back to the standard funding rate amount. And we have 8 minutes left till our next funding rate, and so we'll see what will happen soon. And really waiting for my JP225 strategy to start, or I can just review the logic. But first, let's open Claude. I think I want to check with Claude. I received a rate limit alert on hyperliquid. Can you review trading bot and hedge bot? So I'm just prompting Claude, to review some of my files. So again, I've coded this strategy with Claude, and I need to make sure that it's called MT5 hedger, my bad. I need to make sure that we're not getting rate limited here. Can you review and check if any of those scripts may spam the Hyperliquid server? Okay, and so now finally our JP225 bot has started, and we are coding our sell limit on Hyperliquid on JP225. And so yeah, so looks very good now. So as I've mentioned, we're increasing our position size by 5. And so also what I would like to do here is so maybe let's talk about like types of margin, right? On MT5, so margin basically is the money you provide to your broker to open a leveraged position. And if your PNL or if your PNL drops, so if your floating position is in a loss, it means that your margin is also decreasing, right? So your broker makes sure that you exit the position before your account reaches 0, right? That way, uh, yeah, that way they protect themselves from like liquidation and protect you from not having a negative account balance. And so here what you see is this is the current margin, this is my free margin, and if my free margin drops below 0, right? On MT5 you can go negative, but if it drops below a certain amount, my entire positions would be closed. And on Hyperliquid, there are multiple types of margin. So you can provide margin to an individual position, which is isolated. So this margin here is only added to the JP225 position. So only the PNL of JP225 will affect this isolated margin. And then you have something called cross margin, which means that multiple positions can share the margin from a single pool. So if, for example, Apple is in plus, but Nvidia is in minus, only the net PNL will affect this entire margin. So yeah, this is the difference. And so what I like to do oftentimes is like use isolated margin, right? In some cases, because then I can track the liquidation price of all my assets individually. And if I know the liquidation price of each individual asset, then for me, it's quite easy to manage. And so if it's cross, what can happen is all positions go in minus at the same time, especially if, for example, the assets are correlated, and then the risk of liquidation would be higher. So I'm checking on Hyperliquid how to change the type of margin. And here, for example, I can change it to isolated, right? And that's what I'm gonna do, because with isolated, I have like better overview of the things. And so I believe the cross margin is more efficient, but I don't have like a system that can like monitor yet. So we still need to put in some risk management systems, right, to make sure that yeah, we can manage it correctly. And also, like if you look here, you can also like set the leverage for each stock, right? So for example, you can trade with leverage 1 to 10 or 1 to 5, and so the higher the leverage, the less margin you have to provide, but the higher the chance of liquidation, because higher position sizes cause bigger losses, which means you get liquidated faster. All right, so in 2 minutes and 40 seconds, we should be able to see the next funding rate. Uh, so right now, we are still like allocating exposure on our JP225 position. Right now, our margin is 2,500. And I'm still thinking to, even add more, right? But right now I just need to get to 0.25, and like I'm aiming maybe at like 0.3 or 4, depending how much margin I'll have. So right now you see that I have $5,000 on my account, right? So I can theoretically still try to stretch it. Uh, And so you can see the position value, it's 15,000, right? So what happens if the Japanese index drops by 10% or 5%? It can happen, right? During like market crashes or like big bear markets, stock markets can drop by more than 10% in a single day. So 15,000, 10%, it's 1,500 loss. So nothing too bad, especially because the liquidation price or the liquidation level is like at 0.25% of the required margin. And like I'm talking about margin and numbers, what it means is that if price of JP225 goes to 78,000 up here, we're gonna get liquidated. I can always exit sooner, right? I can like decide to exit sooner, also lower my position size. So all of that is okay. Great. So we have 1 minute left for the funding rate, right? And then I want you to observe the funding history, right? So we're going to focus on the funding history here. So here, this is the countdown, 46 seconds, right? And I want you guys to look at the funding in a second. So 35, 34, so on. So here's our last record. We made little money on S&P 500 due to funding rates. And so now in 23 seconds, we'll have our next funding. So imagine if I like really increase the position size by a lot, right? Then this value will be crazy. Like which market gives you 100% annualized return? Like not for the entire year, but in the short term. So these are like, I want to show you really great opportunities. So now it's over and we made 1.9 US dollars in this single hour, right? And that is crazy because uh, here I have only 0.23, which is quite a lot. It's a 15,000 USDC leverage position, right? But it's still quite nice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm still going to stretch my exposure a little bit on JP225, but I'm gonna do that like I need to get a toilet break, and I'll be back in a few minutes. So be right back, guys. All right, guys, I'm back, and I see that there is some very interesting discussion in the chat. Uh, oh, and Anti-Casual said your API is way more than the 100% annualized. Yes, you're right. So what I meant is like it's based on the position size, and so relative to my capital, it's way higher, right? Because I have like 10K invested in total, right? And I have a 15K position, which means it is roughly 150%. But again, what you see here is that this 100% annualized return like quickly changed back down to 35 because as we're adding liquidity to the market, right, and we're correcting the prices, uh, basically, yeah, we are killing the high funding rate by just providing the quotes, which is nothing bad because we made 1.9 US dollars in an hour on a 10K account, which is really good. And so I still assume that the funding rates will be quite high, right? And even 35% is really good because on a leverage position, the 35% can also be, magnified. And so I just wanted to, show the concept, right, on JP225, and it works literally the same way on our assets. And we could talk about like various strategies, right, that we can deploy. We can, for example, like just hold it. And on JP225, I was also thinking we could also, in theory, provide two-sided quotes, right? The bid and ask spread, because right now the spread is 44. Last week, I saw it being as high as 160. So spread of 39 or 40 is very high. Because what we have here on MT5 is that the spread is only 4, right? What it means is that we can sell for expensive, buy for cheap, always hedge with MT5, right? And then we can try to have like a really super active, you know, you would almost call it like a market making strategy where we'll try to narrow down the spread, compete with the top of book, and constantly, do buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. Maybe I'm almost inclined to do it like today. Would be kind of interesting. Like provide two-sided quotes on bid ask, and like yeah, we can try to play around with it. So, but we're still trading, right? What I want to do is I want to also increase the the size. So if we go to uh, strategy settings again, right? So, whoops, it's not here. It's for my JP225 strategy. So here in strategy settings, I think I will increase to 0.3. I think 0.3 is more than good enough. Because right now we already have how much blocking margin. And also what I can do, right, I can increase the leverage, right? So even though I'm full margin, it's on a leverage of 1 to 5. So if I need more, if I want to open bigger position, I can always increase the leverage. But I think this is like a healthy amount, right? This is like 20%. And I like in front of stream, I sort of want to also look responsible. So I'm just gonna keep this, big buffer. Because what I could do in theory, just hypothetically, I'm not gonna do it. I could go leverage how much? 1 to 20, right? I could go 1 to 20 leverage, right? My liquidation price would be somewhere at 68, 69, right? Somewhere around here. And I could make like a lot of money. Or I could just deposit more money, right? The way to solve insufficient margin is either deposit more or increase your leverage. But what I'm trying to say with that is that in theory, you can always add more leverage and you can be greedy and then you're like, okay, let's make more. But I'm going to be responsible today. I'm going to keep it the way it is. I'm just going to increase the size with the current margin I have. I think 1.5 on indices and certain stocks is kind of like responsible. I think it's like not too much, not too little. 1 to 10 sort of okay, right? If you know what you're doing, if you have constant monitoring, if you're able to, efficiently exit before getting liquidated, I think 1 to 10 is also like doable. There was a time I used to do 1 to 10, 20 in February on gold, right? And I didn't sleep at all, but February, March was like my most profitable, uh, like the most profitable months of this year so far. So I'm not complaining. Start checking. People are mainly buying, right? Right? That's kind of interesting. So I'm getting filled because most people are buying. I don't see that many sells. And like to me, it's just interesting. Uh, all right, we have some interesting discussions in the chat. Okay. Yeah, the chat's very interesting. Okay, I have to agree with you. Well, and the main point is like there's one point. I'm not sure how to pronounce your username. It's Tensure. Tensure. Yeah. I think like one good point is that you've mentioned is that like DEXs, or prediction markets, and like all these platforms, because they're decentralized, right? And they have like attractive maker and taker fee schedules, and also like these are exchange trade products basically. You can gain There are easier ways to gain an edge compared to trading with like a CFD broker, right? Because a CFD broker is always your counterparty. You can never add to the order book. And so if you have the ability to know or construct a fair price of any asset, and you can always like add your limit orders for that fair price. I think that's very easy to get an edge, right? So it's all about understanding the principles, how any asset is basically priced, and you just provide your limit order above or below that price to gain the edge. So, uh, so I agree with ensure that there are opportunities everywhere, especially in the deck space right now. That's what I believe. Ryan Wells. Hi Ryan. Also, thank you for your email. It was a nice email that you wrote me, and yeah, I'm glad that you're here on stream with us. So today, finally, maybe I can just recap really fast for Ryan because you know, I say at the start, Ryan, we have a new dashboard today. So in this dashboard, you've seen last Friday, so we can like filter all the PNL by symbols. Today we're focusing on JP225 because that currently provides good opportunities. And over the weekend, I coded a PNL report, right? So here we can see that now the realized PNL since last week is plus for 35 US dollars. I think I still have to check with MT5 to double check, but it looks like we're up $35. That's great. And then we have the historical spread app, right? So these are the three things. Plus, you can also download my apps now. So anyone who wants to try, please let me know. And like I'm excited to share that strategy. Uh, okay, so we're still quoting the sell on JP225. As I've mentioned, We're gonna increase that to 0.35. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So here in strategy settings, let's increase the exposure on JP225. So one disadvantage of JP225 is that it's highly illiquid, right? Exiting this position in case of liquidation would be very difficult, would take lots of time. So it's better to use low leverage here and let the funding rates and let time play out. Time is your biggest friend here. And and so yeah, so we can, I'm waiting until my limit order gets filled. And then I'm going to restart the script to increase the position size on JP225. So this is today's strategy, and we're going to focus on JP225. And so I'm no longer will do like 3, 5, or 10 trading strategies at the same time, right? So last week I just wanted to test and show you guys, how you would deploy strategies on different assets. And so whenever we have a good opportunity, I will just focus on that opportunity. There are basically two types of approaches that you can do. You can look for high funding rates and hold this trade for many hours or even days, or you can look at an asset that has high liquidity, good spread volatility, and just scalp the spread up and down, sort of like Euro USD here, right? So Euro USD, you could sell at 0.006, buy at close to zero, over and over and over again. So these are like I would say two types of approaches. Funding rate arbitrages, when they're extremely high, are much more profitable. All right, they're much more profitable, but they come once in a while. So they're special treats from time to time. And then the strategy like S&P 500, right? I show you where you can scalp the spread. This should be like your daily bread and butter. You're hoping, to open a few trades throughout the day and try to make a consistent profit. So these are the two approaches. The last approach I've mentioned today, and I haven't tried it yet, is provide two-side quotes, right? So as I said, the spread is very high. So I can just try to sell and immediately try to exit buy, right? By narrowing down the spread. So I would act as a market maker essentially, first trying to go short because the edge is always to go short, and then exit 20 or 30 points below. And now, so finally my JP225 got filled, right? And so what I can do now is let me cancel this order, right? I actually changed it 0.3, but I want to go 0.35. So again, I need to authenticate. Two-factor authenticator is very important, guys, especially on DEXs. You don't want anyone to steal your funds, just by having access to your account and steal your crypto, right? So I highly recommend that. So here I'm going to restart my trading bot. My MT5 hedger is still running, right? Here we see that we are not close to getting limited. I added a daily volume limit to avoid any issues. Sometimes I don't trust myself, but it never happened to me that a trading bot would cycle infinitely. But there's one day it will happen, right? One day I will code something really bad, or AI will make a mistake. That can also happen, and you'll be happy to have these, risk checks and control. I don't blame ATJ. If you did polymarket videos, would have more views and organic consumers. Oh, first, there was another point. How can we download the project? Go to my descriptions below, right, in the video, and you can read that article on my website. Guys, the reason why I do YouTube, right, now talking about, do I do it for viewers? Do I do it for fame? Do I do it for money, right? First of all, I want to teach people something where I'm good at, right? And right now, I've never done poly markets in my life, so I don't know what the edge is or what the alpha is, right? All I know is that I've done this for the past 2 or 3 years, right? This type of arbitrage, and I can genuinely like show you the dashboards, the code, teach you, all the experience I've gained over past years, and like I'm just sharing, my knowledge that I've gained over past. And I think like in that regard, the best way to have like this social media presence in front of you guys is just to show you what I'm good at. And this is what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to show you what I can do best. And so what I can do best is arbitraging DEXs against MT5 or any other like maybe interactive brokers, right? This is what I'm good at. And I'm going to focus on that. And Polymarket is more of like maybe like a fun little project that I will do on the side when I have time. Mr. Bestmerge, hey, welcome to the stream. Nice to see you again. Glad to have you here. Right, and Ryan asks, how do we download the tools? So first of all, again, go to the descriptions below the live stream, and you'll find an article how to set it up. I'm also planning to, release a quick video with the instructions how to do it exactly, right? But if you already have some knowledge with coding or setting up a virtual private server, it shouldn't be too difficult for you. But today, after live stream, I will just sit down in the evening and I'll make like a very short and concise video how to set it up. And so again, you're asking like about the withdrawing and rebalancing. So I'm planning to code extra like features for String Bot this week. And what this feature will do is that if we get close to liquidation price or a free margin on MT5 will get low, what I'm planning to do is that the trading bot will either go to close only or slowly close out existing positions to then free up some margin. And pardon? And of course, we need to create some monitors. So in case margin runs low, I always, suggest that you have extra funds and extra money available to deposit to your account in case your margin runs low, so you avoid liquidation. So there are like many ways we can do that. So this week we're going to focus mainly, as I said, on risk management, on monitoring, on alert systems, and then backtesting and optimization. So now that the trading bot is sort of working and we have like an actual strategy that makes us money, what we can focus now is just to make our life easier and optimize all the money that we deposit and having the mainly peace of mind that nothing bad's going to happen. Yes, this code is available to members on my website. So you know what? I'm just going to quickly send the link here. So I've published this article. So here you'll have the exact step-by-step requirements that you need. You need a Hyperliquid account, MT5, a virtual private server. So basically, if you are not developing or not testing, you want to deploy your strategy on a virtual private server where it can run 24/5 or 24/7. And here you have the download link to my trading bot. And as I mentioned, this evening, I will sit down, create a quick video for you guys so you can set it up. So I'll add it this week in the evening. And so yeah, happy that I could like finally present something that you can download. Okay, I tried pairs trading 1 to 2 years ago. It didn't work out for me, but I searched for co-integration across all trade futures on Bybit. Right. Uh, yeah. So pairs trading or like classic statistical arbitrage is like slightly different. Like this is like almost a special kind of arbitrage because here you can pinpoint exactly what the fair value is because we're essentially trading the same underlying asset. So I think if you've tried pair trading before, this is actually really good because the skill sets that you require to trade this strategy is the same, right? Maybe like we're trading like on different exchanges. So here we need to also make sure that we have sufficient margin on both accounts and optimize the position sizing and like assess the risk so we don't get liquidated. but the edge or the optimization that you would do with a classic operating strategy can also be applied here. So I think like that is great. And as usual, again, I forgot to, I don't know, guys. Like during the weekend, I added, do you want to proceed, right? Yes and no, because when I released this code for you, I wanted to make sure to provide all the disclaimers, all the risk notices, right? So you guys don't accidentally turn something that you shouldn't have. And while I did that, right, I forgot that I did it, and yeah, so now I have to remember that I have to, confirm almost every action I'm doing here. Okay, so now we're entering short again. We're trading the JP225, and as I've mentioned, what we can try is we can try to, trade this JP225 more actively, right? So instead of providing two-sided quotes now, I will provide like one-sided quote for sell, and then when we are at max exposure, we buy, then we sell, we buy to, control the buying and selling a bit. And then when we see that the strategy like sort of works, that we're actually making money, I can provide a constant bid and ask spread on JP225. And like this is not what I've planned to do today, but I feel the profits, right? Whenever I'm trading and I can feel the profits, I just ditch all my projects and I just want to make money. So uh, probably this is the best approach that you can take, unless you neglect risk management and monitoring, and all the things that are required to have smooth and efficient trading operations. But let's focus on this. So here JP225, let's say I entered minus 80, but then I want to exit at minus 40, right? So here we're exiting much sooner than we actually planned to, but we should be able, to make some money. And I think in theory we can try like 30. So what it means is that long minus 80, exit minus 30, we make 50 on one JPY contract. This shouldn't be bad. This is actually pretty good. And again, we're doing one-sided quotes in this case, not two-sided. And if the strategy starts earning a lot of money, what I can do in theory is I can add like some separate threads. So there will be like two threads in Python. One will quote the ask, the other one will quote the bid, and hopefully that will give us more active trading, essentially market making, right? Because we're narrowing down the spread. And then what we can also do is maybe apply some dynamic Bollinger, right? Where we like compute these values dynamically, so we can always find the best optimal entry and exit that's adapting to the current market conditions. Okay, so now we're still trying to short JP225. Margin levels are good. In 30 minutes, we have enough funding rate. I guess everything's nice. Like there was a time I remember on crude oil, this was like 2 months ago, crude oil funding rates when the US attacked, right, and the strait closed, the Strait of Hormuz, WTI oil, this one, it rose to like 120, right? We can see, look at the historical data. So it's like so it almost hit 120, right? And so during this period, like I had to control my risk a lot, but the funding rates were as high as even 600%. I'm saying right, 600%. And at that time, I had like a position size of 300,000 US dollars, like 300K on crude oil. So during this time, I made like, I don't know, there were times where I was making like $200 every hour because of the funding rates. So this is just like a story, how I made like the funding crude oil. And actually, I documented that, right? I've shown you, like, yeah, I released a video in March, I believe, where I traded on hyper crude oil, and that was crazy. So 600% annualized return. And every hour you see like plus 100 or plus 200, and I couldn't believe my eyes. That was probably the best trading week or 2 weeks that I've had this year. And that was also like when I just started, with Hyperliquid this year. So I finished my Hyperliquid project sometime in February. And so when gold and crude oil were so volatile, uh, it was just crazy. Like the timing couldn't be more perfect, because if I started with the Hyperliquid project like a month or two later, I would have never caught such an opportunity. And ever since then, I just fell in love with Texas, right? Right. On backtest, it showed some positive PNL, but in the real environment, those configurations were too fragile. Basically, no underlying reason to support it. Yes, that can happen a lot, that your data does not align with the real market, results. So I'm always the biggest fan of just testing it live, right? Whenever you have some strategy and you believe that it works, I just deploy it live and just see. That I think that's the best way you can do it. Um, Good afternoon. Is there a percentage gain you are targeting at all, or just net positive? Well, I'm definitely aiming to make a profit. That's maybe goal number one. Personal expectation, if I make 20 or 30% annual return, I'm very happy. If I make more than that, I'd be super happy. If I make less than that, hopefully I still made a profit. So at the end of the day, I'm not like overthinking that. And like so far on this account that you see here, right? If you look at the P&L report for the past week, we can like combine it, like let's combine Thursday to Thursday, right? And today's Monday actually. So, oh God, I think I still need to change the layout here. Here the values are white. So I will then tell Claude so let's say for 1 week, we're applying the P&L report here. Oh, let me just refresh this. Maybe that will help. We made $35, but including today, which is plus 12. So if we remove that, it would be like 22, right? So we have 22 per week times 52 is 1,000. Uh, Last week we trade like with 5K roughly, right? It's 22%. But uh, now we're like at 10K. I'm not gonna deposit more. This is just going to be, my live stream account where I'm going to share my strategies on a 10K account. Because as you said, to some extent, like I don't want to leak my edge, so I'm just sharing like the framework, the trading bots, my approach. But what I'm trading right now, I might tell you on live stream, I like to talk a lot, so I might tell you. But I don't want to, have like a live stream where I show 100K, on Hyperliquid, and then, uh, yeah, tell you exactly what I'm doing. I think that wouldn't be good for me due to security reasons and also to sort of protect my edge. Uh, But yeah, but if you make like 35 per week, right, and we multiply that by 52 and divide by 10K, I mean, all of that is roughly in a range that is like quite nice for me, right? 18% here. I think like you could stretch it by a lot, right? So my friends, I give the strategy also to my friends, right? They just deposit like $1 or $2K, and so right now they've been doing it for like I don't know, 2 months. Let me check a spreadsheet that we have, right? So I'm just going to share something. Uh, okay, I'm just going to take a screenshot and share it with you. So yeah, so here I'm trying to teach my brother how to trade. He deposited like 1,000 or 2,000 US dollars initially. Now in total is 7,000, right, on his account. And so I told him like try gold, right? Just try like Hyperliquid against MT5 gold, just construct a spread. And some days nothing happens, right? Sometimes the spread is like very low, but I told him focus on the quality of the trades, right? So initially he lost money because he tried to scalp the spread too tight, right? That's what happened. And sorry. And so I told him, okay, focus more on the quality of the trades. So if on some days you don't make any profit, uh, just don't trade. And then essentially I told him if gold is too expensive, because gold on Hyperliquid is slightly more expensive than other assets, just try S&P 500, right? And here, for example, on some days he made $15, 13, and here on the right side you see that his current PNL is plus 65 US dollars, and he started on the 13th of April. So again, I gave him my trading bots. I told him just play around with it. Initially, he tried to do his own backtest, then realized the commissions are too high. Then we switched to another symbol, and like he sort of now understands the strategy. Like ideally, I told him, hey man, ideally you should not lose any money, right, throughout the day. Maximum if you pay commissions and you hold the position till the next day. Uh, and then like so we consulted together, and then he changed to S&P 500 later. So I like to let the people who are in strategy to play around with it, because the best way to learn to trade a strategy is actually just try to apply your own settings, and then you'll figure out if it works or not, and then over time you just improve the settings, you start backtest better, you start optimize, and then you'll just learn how the market sort of works and what opportunities are good. So I just wanted to share, that thing. I forgot what the initial question was, but I hope that it wasn't too boring. Uh, all right, I guess it was a question, is there a percentage gain? But yeah. I saw that Hyperlink lets you see historical funding rates, so interesting to see volatility in the funding rates. I made a scanner for them. Yes, you can actually extract them. I don't know if you can see them from the UI, uh, but you can definitely extract the historical funding rates and see how, yeah, how they look. And they're like almost directly correlate with the spread, right? So if the price difference is high between the assets, then also the funding rate is quite high. Okay, I guess let's just start coding. We have 20 minutes until next funding rate. And as I mentioned today, I want to close out my stocks, Apple and Nvidia. So they were like a good testing asset when I started, this project. Could you believe it? It's only been 1 week since we like opened this project, right? So last Monday, this entire thing was empty, and then using Claude, we then coded all of this here. So still unbelievable. Okay, let's do some coding. I need to work on the trading sessions today, right? So what we have here is that every symbol MT5 has trading hours, right? The markets close on a regular basis. So we need to tell the trading bot to stop trading Hyperliquid when MT5 is down. So that's what we need to do. So here also, like here I have versions, right? So the V0 is the one that I used last week. Then I created like a prototype folder. So the full prototypes has all the new changes that I'm coding in Livestream or at home. And so these are not tested, right? The prototype is something that is just running on the live stream, and like if anything happens, I can fix it. So I'm going to, always release the versions that are going to be here. The older, the more stable, the newer, the more features you'll get, but there's a high chance that you might encounter bugs. And I bet there will be a lot of bugs still. Okay, so in trading sessions.py, so here I want to update this template. The V1 is my template. I want to remove session templates and just define a single session myself. Can you remove the templates and just use one static session for Hello, Banana Real. Nice to have you here. I'll just call it Banana if that's okay. It's shorter. You know, I realized one thing, guys. I love coding, right? But I also love AI coding for me because probably what I prefer more is the trading part than the coding part. And the coding was a necessity that I needed when I started algorithmic trading. So if I had a choice to have AI that does exactly the way I want it to, I would probably just use AI. And that's a huge shift considering I started working with AI 2 weeks ago. So actually three already. I've been coding with AI for 3 weeks. And also you can just focus on trades. You can just, check the dashboard, uh, right? Focus on strategy creation and then let Claude do the like coding the dashboard, coding the strategies, coding the logic, and so on. So, so here in training sessions, we have this part here. I think I'm just gonna rewrite it and let Claude take care of the refactoring, right? So, uh, let me just delete this, or actually, whenever you edit something, just add alt or whatever, and in case you want to revert it, you can just revert, or you can just use git reset hard, something like that. Um, so we have the time zone and we have the trading sessions. That's uh, that's all we need. So here in trading sessions, we can like provide a trading session for Monday, right? And here we can provide a dictionary or a tuple, right? With start and end. So I will just provide start is like when does the market open or when can the trading bot start trading? And for JP225, what we can do is we can just check the market hours, the specification, and we know that trading on JP225 is allowed from 1 a.m. Platform time, which is midnight Prague time. So I will just say, okay, 15 minutes after market open. So it's going to be time 00:15, right? So from datetime import time like this. And so when should the bot stop trading, right? And here we can provide time. And again, we check when trading is over on this asset. So on JP225, we go to specification. And so here the market closes at midnight, which is 11 Prague time. So I can say things like stop trading at 23. Let's do like half an hour before market close, right? So we're safe. You could do 45 in theory, but so I'm not gonna overcomplicate it. And so here you can create like a session for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday. So this is how I define my trading sessions. In theory, I could like unify it, right? Because they're all the same. And then we can just add holidays or something to overwrite that. I'm gonna keep it simple, guys. But I have Claude. Claude can do it for me. Uh, so on the thing is on Saturday and Sunday, there is no trading session. So maybe I can just provide none. And that's it. So we have a start, we have an end, and we just define it here. And then you can just copy paste that here. So I'm just going to write in trading sessions, trading sessions.py. So we're going to V1 here. I have modified the layout, how to configure the trading sessions. Can you refactor trading bot to take trading sessions and time zone as the input to decide when to start and stop the trading bot. And let's see what Claude will suggest here. And so let's have a look at yeah, our current JP225 strategy. It looks like right now we're trying to exit the trade. I don't know if I restarted my trading bot with the new settings. If you remember, I have my strategy settings here. I now exit my strategy, right? So now we can like actually try to look for an exit, which the trading bot is doing. So right now, if I check the open orders, we're now quoting the bid price, hoping to exit. So we're looking for someone, you know, to sell to us, and that would make like instant realized profit, which wouldn't be too bad. So we're just quoting the buy for exiting, and yes, I remember the strategy of my trading bot starts like that, that it first tries to exit and then enter. It always tries to lower the risk and then enter a new position. So now the logic is like exiting the position. Maybe I could try to make like, yeah, two-sided quotes inside a thread. But first, let's apply the trading sessions in V1. And then also I need to provide some, you know, today I also need to provide some risk settings for the margin. I'm just gonna write a to-do file here so I don't forget. So here, I'm going to write a to-do. And so what I want to do today is I want to add trading sessions, then close trades when getting close to liquidation or low margin. Claude or Codex? I'm using Claude. I'm using Claude right now. And Banana asks, how are you doing and how's the strategy performing? Yeah, pretty well. So here I can show you quickly my P&L report. So here, this is my P&L since last week, right? I can also add, let's add Monday until today, right? So here we were just developing, so we made some small losses in the beginning, but overall our strategy is plus $32 since last week, which is amazing, right? So these are our like profitable days. Here we have our losing days, and I hope that I will share the results as frequently as I can. So as I said, like this account, this 10K account, I'm just gonna keep 10K on this and keep trading it, the way it is. So we'll just see how far we'll get. And again, as I've mentioned, I have my own money, right? My other accounts that are trading on the side. But for the live streams, we're going to display this trading account. We have 9 minutes until next funding rate. The funding is 21% now. Okay, so here we go to trading sessions. Here I have a typo, so Wednesday is fixed. Can you create is market open in trading sessions.py? So okay, I'm rewriting this. Let's reformat this. This should be fine. I might just do interactive brokers against RWA. That's also very legitimate. Sure, feel free to do that, and good luck with that. I read something over the weekend about being able to predict the next funding rate or have an idea of that. Have you come across that too? There is a simple formula. If you go to Hyperliquid and go to docs, you can actually calculate it yourself. And so I've never implemented that. I always like look for, you know, the current, just the current funding rate that I see that Hyperliquid shows, and uh, and I'm just using that. But if you can like predict and like see what it's going to be next hour, that might be like quite good and interesting. So there might be something, to optimize that. But here's an article. There's an exact formula how it's calculated, and so basically you can also, try to work on that. So good luck to you too. Okay, so this new trading bot now has the market sessions here, and I think it should be okay. Oh, and the end session is actually wrong. It's 22 because the market closes at 23 Prague time, and here I have the time zone, so this is the correct session for JP225. So now let's add the function, and now we have implemented the trading sessions. So we need to also close trades when getting close to liquidation or low margin. And then what else? This is for JP225 specific. Quote two-sided quotes to maximize volume. So we just want to trade faster. So we can sell, 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 but while selling, we can also buy and keep repeating that process. So it's interesting. We're like at the top of book for a very long time here, but no one wants to sell right now, which is fair. Bro, is there a cap to like making profit here? It's not like sustainable or edge eroding like that at $30 at 6% annual 18 with reinvesting. I mean, depends, right? So I believe that JP225, you just have to look at the daily volume, right? So, and how much of that volume are you able to, get to yourself? Also, like the open interest is like a good indicator on, how much, liquidity you can add to this market. So I would just do a very simple question. If you have $10,000 or less, you shouldn't be bothered with eroding edge. If you have more than 25 or 50K, then maybe it's time to look at maybe splitting the strategies and like try to maximize your edge in multiple markets. So but even me, like I am trading with hundreds of $1,000s, right? And like so far, even for this capital size, there are good ways to make money. Because if you like go to, for example, the most liquid ones, right? If you go to, for example, to sort of by volume, you have markets like crude oil, the XYZ 100 index, S&P 500. So all these like major assets, and they have over 100 million daily volume. So for these assets, it shouldn't be such a problem, right? And then you have a lot of assets that also have like more than 10,000, and even assets where you have like a few million in daily volume are still good enough for the average retail trader. So yeah. All right, let's get back to coding. So yes, let's apply the changes to trading bot. And now it should be fine. All right. So now let's also do this. I still wonder, we're still like quoting the close short in JP225, still no buys. And that's a issue with liquidity, right? So now if you and I would compete at this price, we would be fighting, to exit here. Okay. I think the best way to actually monitor the liquidation price is to maybe just add it into the open positions. Or first, let's add it to the trading bot. So here in trading bot, so here in trading bot, so it's v0 trading bot.py. Can you also add the liquidation price and free margin on MT5? I want to add another can you also maybe display the liquidation price on hyper liquid and free margin on MT5? When the distance to liquidation price, oh, it's not in V0. I want to add it to V1. That's my bad. In prototypes, Can you also display when this distance look price is too low, or MT5 free margin gets too low? I want to close out the positions. So yeah. So here I'm telling Hyperliquid, or I mean Claude, to add another risk check. So you guys mentioned like what happens if I lose money on MT5 or I lose money on Hyperliquid, right? So here my margin will get low and we have to rebalance. And so during this period, it is actually quite dangerous. As I mentioned, liquidation is very bad. You can get slipped. You can have very huge losses. And to avoid that, you want to, yeah, to avoid that, you want to maybe like close out your position little by little to actually create like extra distance from the liquidation price. Another question, does this strategy also calculate the fee? Yes, the fees are included. So if you look at the dashboard here, you can see the commission that we paid and also the funding and swaps. So this is all included in the net P&L of our strategy. Oh, nice. So guys, what you see here is that here we got a funding rate, not as big though, right? So here JP225 short plus 34 cents. So now it looks like that the funding rate is now back to being normal, which is fine. So now what we're looking for is just, we're looking to exit our trades, and we also have our first exit here, right? Here you can see our buy. So now our strategy is trying to find an exit by, buying now. And so this is what we're doing. And I feel like here, if you look at here, the top of book is 109 and here it's 88. So there's like a 20 point difference between the first and second level, which means that I might quote my bid too aggressively. And that makes sort of sense because in strategy settings, I decided, to exit at minus 13. What I can do in theory is like maybe do minus 15, right? So this is like a very, very small optimization that I can do. So now I would just restart my trading bot. Here I would just pray yes. And then if I have any open positions, let me just cancel them, right? So my trading bot can, because it takes some time for my trading bot to initialize on JP225, still a bug that I have to fix, but this should be fine. So we can cancel this order. And so now my trading bot should be running very soon. Oh, and it seems like the trading bot canceled the order itself. Okay, so now we are not quoting the bid as aggressively, right? It's still good, we're still at top of book. So just a small thing to do to optimize the profits. Okay, so now we go back to Claude, and before writing in, I want to look how it was running. Okay. So here we have like aggressive, immediate, or cancel, right? Which would immediately like close out the position at the current market order. Uh, in that case, I would just rather get margin called. It's basically the same thing. The hyperliquid would stop my position, right? It would get liquidated, and then it would immediately like hedge anyways. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a slow reduce only. So here the strategy would go to reduce only. Halt and exit. After flattening, you invested with restarting safest because on early bug was the dangerous market condition. Okay. So in this case, I just want to halt and exit. Here we do it in strategy settings.py. So I'm very like curious, to see how that works. So we'll have to do a lot of testing here, but I think it's going to be okay. So now let's just Claude. Yeah, I need to submit answers. Let Claude do the thinking now, and then we'll test the code later. It's gonna be in V1. Hi to which wallet setups are you using for Hyperliquid? Ledger, MetaMask, or Ledger plus Rabi? No, I'm just using the Hyperliquid, email sign up with Privy. So you can also just, set up your email address and use that. But most likely, I should move to probably, some other wallet solutions, I believe. I believe that there are exchanges now that are trying to like integrate their own exchange wallet into Hyperliquid. So like what I mean by that is that if I open Hyperliquid like in an anonymous window, right? So let's go to app.hyperliquid, right? And like if you try to connect, for example, now Coinbase OKX is already integrated. You also have like wallet connect options where you have like multiple wallets to choose from. And one of those is, for example, Kraken wallet, because I use Kraken wallet myself. I'm Kraken's client. So there are like many ways to actually connect these different wallets. But what I'm using is just login with email. So you can just sign up with your email address. You'll get a two-factor code to your email address sent. And then I also have like a 2FA on my phone. So I use basically these two things to do that. Okay, so now we just need to wait for Claude. This is like a pretty big task because now we have to, monitor the free margin and also the liquidation distance. And I think I want the liquidation distance to be computed like in absolute values. Like how far are we away from the liquidation? $5, $10, or 15? I think that would be like a bit better for me. So once this is done, I will also tell Claude to apply this change, and then we'll see. Okay, so now we're applying the liquidation distance. Right, so this, we don't need this anymore. And yeah, this is interesting. Like so far, we have only closed one JP order, right? In theory, what I can try doing is I can try to increase the size. So when we are about to get filled, right, it would just fill the entire order. So that could work, but then again, like large sizes are more prone to slippages on MT5 too, right? Because if you'll have like a large market order, the broker might slip us. And I don't know exactly uh, what the liquidity looks on the MT5 side. But yeah, today the realized P&L looks really nice. I'm like really glad it looks like this. And here we have the breakdown by symbol, right? So on JP225 today, we have made $9.98 in realized P&L. That's really amazing. Uh, and on SP 500 today, we closed it for plus 3.53. So we had like one small position open today that we closed. So in total, yeah, that is that. And then we'll see also about the US stocks when we can close them. So there's another comment. Love your content. Are you executing mainly as maker or taker? And if it's hybrid, how do you handle partial flows on maker when fees on taker are high? So I only execute with maker orders on Hyperliquid. So basically, I just wait until I get filled, and then whenever I get filled, my script checks the exposure and sends the trade to MT5 to hedge it. So it's just these two things. And I really do wish to get filled eventually, but we just have to wait. Like still the funding rates are 5.48%, right? Which is still nothing bad. Like a savings account with 5% is, in my opinion, also pretty good. So if we just hold this position for the entire day, we might still, have like a good fill. In the meantime, like again, we can like also look at other assets, right? So while I code and speak here, the market conditions may have changed, and we might like find some other trading opportunities. Because it looks like JP225 has calmed down a bit, right? You see the funding rate is back at to being normal. So maybe if we like look at like XYZ JP225 and then check JP225 here. Yeah, I think some data is missing. Yeah, I think it's because I didn't add like the time zone specification, so we're missing like 5 hours. But here you can see that the price discrepancy is super high, right? Here we would have made like a really nice profit, then it came back to zero. Now it was high again in the morning, and now it's like back at zero. So yeah, the opportunities are like really good here. So I still don't get it with strategy. Must price discrepancy be higher than the fee? Uh, I, I mean, yeah, correct. So if you, let's say here is like a nice example, right? If you buy the spread at minus 200, right, and exit zero, you basically, so buying the spread at minus 200 means buying XYZ JP225 and selling MT5 JP225. And this asset is 200 cheaper than on MT5. And then when this difference goes back to zero, it means these two assets have the same price now, and the net profit of both positions should be positive. And if you add the commission, like all the fees and the funding rates, in total, like this move should at least cover the position to make it profitable. And beautiful, we got another buy. So now we got another buy filled. Another buy got filled. That's amazing. So now we are left with 0.22. And actually, now that we got filled like quite a lot, we almost exited the entire position. So let me go to a live dashboard and go to JP225. So now our total P&L is plus 15. Right before it was like 12, if I'm not mistaken. Now it's plus 9. So never mind. Let's have a look at the transactions. We can actually see that here. So there is actually a very big move, and the last trade actually was not that good, right? Oh, because we have like this very, very big spike. So we got slipped. That's what happened. So actually we lost money on this one. So see, so here we have like the history here of buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. Here sell, and we have a buy here, and then here we have sell. So here we got like a bad exit. And here, this is like the average sells, and here's the average buys during a certain period. So overall, we're still in profit, so I'm not too angry. But this is like a nice proof that like these big spikes can sometimes lead to a loss, right? Because we can get slipped, and maybe I should check if it was like a news event or some market event, or if it's just a random spike, because we can also, for example, add some news event table to filter out the trades. So for example, when the strategy or when the current market condition is very volatile, we can say we don't want to trade right now, so we just say don't trade. and avoid these potential slippages. So yeah. And the reason it happens, like probably MT5 could also be like slow, right? Let's look at the execution time. It was actually not too bad. We could execute in 177 or 194 milliseconds. So we're like sub 200 millisecond execution time. So yeah, so here we see the total report. But overall for today, we're like plus 15. So this is still fine. And the good thing is like in 14 minutes, the market is reopening. So so that is great. So hey guys, today I'm going to stream a bit shorter. So usually I would stream like for 4 hours, like based on last week. But today I want to finish the guide, right? So you guys can have like a video tutorial how to download this dashboard and how to run the trading bots. So it's basically this article here. So I'm going to create like a short tutorial how to set up your trading bot on the virtual private server, and so hopefully that will be done by the end of today. So if you guys want to try strategy uh, in the evening, I'll try to upload this video. So yeah, but in the meantime, let's just keep focusing on my to-dos. So again, I want to close my trades when I approach low liquidation. And I don't think I have time to test this today. I'll test it maybe on a testing account in the evening, but this is definitely something important that we have to implement in our strategy. And so we have a question, what about brokerage? What do you mean by that? Like what broker I use? So I use IC Trading, which is this MT5 platform. And then I use, MT5. Hyperliquid, which is this platform here. So guys, quite unfortunate with this drop, but it's fine. Basically, we got arbitrage on this one. Like our code was late. Maybe we had like a pricing freeze on MT5. And so prove that it's not actually risk-free, which is probably fine. That's the execution risk that I was talking about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the liquidation price somewhere up here because I can like edit all the things like here. Can you what is it? Can you change min liquidation distance percentage to absolute amount? So I want to have like this amount in dollars basically, and so percentages, and then I can test that. What's the fees? Yeah, the question was, I mean, what's the fees per trade or order? So on MT5, you have to check with the brokerage. So on MT5, many assets don't have commission. You just pay the spread, which you can see here, and then the commission is like symbol by symbol. Usually MT5 is like quite cheap. And on Hyperliquid, the commission, you can find it here. Right, so here these are the fees. It's 0.009% for taker and 0.003% for maker. So these are this is the commission structure. Beautiful. Yeah, this is interesting. Amazon USDT has 49% funding rate right now. That's like, I mean, also pretty good, right? So, but I said like today I stopped trading the stocks. I will focus on the 24/5 assets. But if you guys, want to trade Amazon with this funding rate, this is something that you could like do. And like US stocks, you can also trade them like also overnight. Interactive Brokers offers like overnight trading on stocks or like early session. So you don't need to wait for like the main US session. Is ATJ Traders a firm? Yes, we are an algorithmic trading firm. And so, did you backtest a strategy or just dive directly into execution? I just dove directly into execution because I know that at least the price levels that I set have like a guaranteed edge, right? Because if you buy below market value, you will make money, or if you sell above market value, then you will also make money. So right now I'm just testing the trading bots, and we'll get to backtesting optimization, sometime this week. Uh, but first I need to also like implement all these risk checks and monitoring and test the trading bot in general to make sure that nothing breaks. So I give it like 1 or 2 more weeks, and yeah, there are so many things that we can like still do on this live stream. So okay, so we renamed the strategy settings. Here we have the minimum liquidation distance and minimum free margin. And so I will ask Claude, is there a way to display whether min liquidation and min free margin has been triggered without causing a stop out? Or like more like test? So I'm going to run like a test run where I'm just going to display the data to confirm that the value that Claude, has computed for me is correct. And then the next step would be like creating like a stop out thingy. So when our price gets too close to the liquidation level, we'll try to close our position, or when the free margin MT5 runs too low, we'll also like try to close our position. And again, we have another sell here on JP225. Hopefully the execution was good this time. I see plus 17. So I think, yeah, now we made a profit. We can check here. Not really, not really. So we bought here and we sold here. So we got two trades that like sort of did not go in our favor, right? And like this market volatility is probably not good for us. I believe like there are two factors, right? One is like I'm trading from like my PC, right? It's not on a virtual private server with optimized speed, so maybe I might be a little bit like late with the execution. Uh, but overall, like we're still in profit, right? So even though we like sell, actually this is not bad because I'm actually exiting at around 0, right? So the execution is actually good. So here we can see like these are the average sells, these are average buys. So in total, like my P&L increased, so everything's actually fine. Is math necessary building algo strategies? I would say mathematics is very useful because we're dealing with numbers, of course. But the mathematics is not too complicated, right? I don't think like you can be like a PhD quant and have all these mathematical tools, but if you sort of just imitate what I'm doing, right? Basically, I'm just buying low and selling high without any backtest. You can do that. If I told you, hey, look, guys, Nvidia has 31% funding rate, so you can short Nvidia, buy it on MT5, for example, you will make money, right? You will make money. The question is, are you making money the most optimal way? And the answer is without backtest, right, or some mathematical background, it might be a bit more difficult. So definitely it helps, but it's not necessary to become profitable with this strategy. And then another question, yeah, makes total sense. In your firm, how many types of different strategies do you use, and is it mainly focused on arbitrage? Yes, I mainly focus on arbitrage, and so right now I'm showing, how I trade on Hyperliquid, and so what I focus on is like I screen multiple symbols throughout the day, see what strategies are good for a day, and then I run the trading strategy as using the dashboard, right? So I can have multiple symbols that trade at the same time. And so this is just on Hyperliquid. And you can also, for example, run the same strategy on Lighter, which is also like another DEX, right? So here on Lighter, what you can do is you can do the same thing like on Hyperliquid, but it's just another exchange. Here you have zero taker maker fees, so we can run the same strategies here, for example, as well. So it's all about just looking for screening the market and looking for the best opportunities throughout the day. Please try building a market making strategy. I mean, sort of, we are adding liquidity, right, with our arbitrage. So, sure. But let me ask you, SJ official, why do you want me to build a market making strategy? Do you think it will make more money, or are you just interested uh, in how to build it? Right, because on Livestream, like it's quite interesting. There are people who like really grasp the concept of the strategy, right, and they're like really amazed. Yeah, let's trade it. And there are people who like try poly markets, try market making, try this, try that. And so I'm interested in like whether they believe that this strategy that I'm presenting is like not good enough, or whether like they believe that there is something better out there that we can like still build, right? So definitely I am like interested in these topics, but me personally, like I like to focus on like maximizing profits. So my main objective here is not just, finish Hyperliquid and then like find a totally new strategy and ditch this project. My objective actually is to like build a system on Hyperliquid, Lighter, and all these dexes, right, to create like the most optimized arbitraging strategy that maximizes our profits, right? And uh, so yeah, so that is actually what I would like to focus on. So market making is like quite nice. I can like provide two-sided codes. I mentioned that on JP225, but it's more like I'm trying to understand what you mean by that. And so I'm interested in market making strategy to build one on the Indian exchange. Okay, that is interesting. So good luck to for that. But the main thing I'm trying to teach right now is just Hyperliquid against MT5. This is like my main project right now, and I'm like going to focus, to make it into like a really really good product right now. So I believe like you can't expect that from me for a long time to build some market making bot on the Indian exchange. And I understand that in India the restrictions are a bit different, right? In India, I think CFDs are forbidden, and I'm not sure if Hyperliquid is legal there, but yeah. And so another question: is your firm have more people or is solo running? So I have like my partner who helps me like with daily operations, with trading, and stuff like that. So we are a two-man team right now. Okay, so back to Claude. I also want to create a script that will flatten positions on a symbol by sending maker orders to top of book. Maybe, or can you create a force flatten or force close in strategy settings.py? So here, okay. Hi to is your research mail still active? A colleague of mine has sent you an email regarding exchange. Let me check. Usually I reply within like 1 day. Sorry if I've missed it, so I'll just confirm that and let you know. Yeah, it's research at ATJ Traders. Yeah, today I didn't check my email, so sorry for that. But yeah, I've received an email today, but probably not for you. I just got some weird sales spam from some guys. So I'm just gonna uh, yeah, if someone has sent me something, just tell your colleague or whatever to send me email again. I'll check it out. So like for today or the past week, I did not find anything new in my folder. So sorry if I haven't replied. Okay, so for today we have added like trading sessions and closing when the margin gets low, and then yeah, I'll focus on the JP225 to maybe provide the two-sided quotes. So we're still trying to close our trades, I assume. No, right now we're not sending anything. Uh, okay, here we have an error. So our bot actually crashed. I should have actually investigated why. But yeah, so here I'm restarting the trading bot. Okay, so here in strategy settings, we're adding the force close. So basically, this value can get quite dangerous, right? Because we're just closing all the, we don't need this anymore. We'll just close all the trades, so we will flatten them. So you should definitely be careful with this. And here we will just do it at top of book. So here, okay, so here we have added like our extra, yeah, logic to close our positions, and I'm going to apply that on the stocks, right? So now Apple and Nvidia should be open now, right? So here we have Apple and Nvidia. So here Apple closed in a gap down. Nvidia has actually gap up. You see like this big spike down, and now it's up here. So that is interesting. And let's have a look at our PNL, right? So let's look at our total PNL, see how it looks now for the individual stocks. So here our floating PNL is actually positive. This is like pretty good. So here, if I filter by Apple, Uh, so another question: is this bot can this bot paper trade? Yes, it can. You can connect the bot to a demo account on MT5, so you use MT5 demo, and on Hyperliquid you can use a testnet account theoretically, right? But I didn't set up the string bot to work with testnet, so most likely you would have to use like, you know, probably set it up with like a small, like a yeah, small trading account, like a few $100s. But yeah, it will definitely work on testnet and demo. Okay, so now JP225, we're again exiting our short position, right? So here we are quoting buys, which is fine. So here Apple is here and Nvidia is here. So hopefully, like, I'll try to now close the trades on Apple and Nvidia. They might be a small loss, right? But I don't want to deal with them anymore. So I'm just going to, you know, flatten these two trades. So okay, so here we have our script force close dot py. So I think our trading bot has no force close, only the new script that I've created will close the position. So in like extreme cases or like in special cases where you just want to close a position and don't want to use a trading bot or do it manually, I've created this force close script. Right, and here we have the strategy settings. So in order to actually apply the force close, let me actually leave it down here. You have to apply true. So we're going to test it on the stocks now. So everything looks fine, and we also implemented, you know, the other checks. So this is good, and this is also done. So another question: do you ever find yourself having to scratch your trades because there aren't good fills on Hyperliquid? Do you think your open is a good time for imbalances? Uh, well, I think most of the time the fills are pretty good, right? It just depends on the setup, the latency, and the execution quality. And in most cases, it's fine. I think the only time it becomes, you know, quite risky is when the market is like super volatile, right? For example, during market opens or news events. So I think avoiding these things help, you know, help with the execution risk. But other than that, the fills are like pretty good. And so with the opportunities, I think the imbalances come and go like at random times. Sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes it's in the afternoon. Uh, Definitely the market is more volatile, you know, when EU and US session overlap because there's a lot of volume happening. And like the major moves, they do happen like during the EU or US open, but they can also happen like during the Asian session. So I don't want to like generalize that one session is better than the other. Uh, in other words, I don't know. That's probably what I should have said. Okay, so we've added force close. I think it should be fine now. Like, let me try to, you know, add this force close script into one of my trading bots, right? So here we have strategies, and let's start with Apple, right? So, oh no, Apple is empty, Nvidia is empty. Uh, hmm. Let me just add the scripts myself from again. So here we have, oh, I know why. The reason why is that I have the sample strategies here. So here let me just copy this Apple folder here. So here we have the old Apple settings. So these are strategy settings for Apple. And so what I want to do is I want to close my trades on Hyperliquid. So with a new script I created, which is in V1, I have the force close, and I think that's all we need. So we have the force close script that I can add here. And also in strategy settings, I also added this force close switch. So I can add it here. And apparently I just need to set it to true. So what I can do now is, yeah, I can just run this MT5 hedger, which hedges the Apple exposure, right? Oh no, almost made a big mistake. Should have gone to Apple. So here we have the strategy settings, and here we have the Apple hedger. So here we are hedging with Apple. And here I will just try to run the force close. And so yeah, here we have the strategy settings. I actually wanted to copy this section here and add this to the strategy section here. So now let me run this. We should now be sending orders to Hyperliquid. So right now our Apple exposure is +7, and we're now slowly closing our exposure on Hyperliquid. And this is like a new script, so I need to test it. I need to be very careful. So now our Apple, we're selling Apple, right? So now we're at 5. And then when it gets close to 0, I need to make sure that this script then stops trading. Okay, and now we're flat. That's beautiful. So here, my trading bot said it's done. Everything is closed. On MT5, I'm also flat, right? So all my Apple trades have been closed. So that's beautiful. So everything works. And let's look at the dashboard. Not sure if we're gonna be in a profit here. Again, it was just like a testing trade from last week. But yeah, today we're minus 1.47. And I also need to check if we're using maker or taker orders. I'm like actually interested what types of order types we used. Because here we have the force close. Does force close dot py use maker orders? I'm in maker. So, but I think it's correct. Even though 39.67 might look like quite a lot. Nice. So it's added as ALO. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the same for NVIDIA. So we're closing NVIDIA now, and then we can just focus on our other symbols that are currently trading. So now Yeah, let's go to the old versions, and here we have our NVIDIA settings. So here I'm going to add them into my strategies, here into NVIDIA. And all I need to do is just, again, copy the settings from Apple. So here we have force close, we add this here. In strategy settings, we just need to enable the force close parameter. So we just add it here. So here's the force close. And so here we can apply force close dot pi. Oh, no, no, no. Good thing that I have the switch, right? That's why I added a switch. We first need to enable the MT5 hedger. Right, here we have the MT5 hedger, double check that it's NVIDIA, that's correct. So now our hedger is running and now we want to force close. So we're closing our NVIDIA trades now. Right, and here we have, yeah, our NVIDIA close short. So hopefully, we'll exit our position soon. And here NVIDIA is quite nice, right? Here we made plus 5.94 US dollars on this trade since last week. So here the funding rates were like really, really good. So I'm actually happy with the NVIDIA trade. Okay, so now we're flat. NVIDIA is closed. Let's check MT5. NVIDIA has also been closed on MT5. So very happy with that. And we can now close the hedger and we can check the profits on NVIDIA, right? So here our realized P&L on NVIDIA, we made plus $1 US. Again, like we exited at like an unfavorable price, but in total we still made a profit. And so these are like our arbitrage trades. So everything is super nice. And so for today, we only have JP225, and I need to check on the server if my S&P 500 is still running, but it should be running. So yeah, and here now we have the market open. Interestingly, we have rate limit exceeded. I think I'll have to check it. I think this is coming from either this one, because no one is actually trading this asset, or it's coming from my S&P 500 bot. But I think it's this one. I need to check the rate limits. Maybe I can find it here. Nice. So yeah, we're just trading JP225 today. Pretty good profits. Well, again, assuming we're trading on like a 10K account now, right? So from now on, we'll just compute like the P&L, the weekly and monthly return, and like if we are able to get, as I said, 20 to 30% per year, I'm super happy. If we do more than 30%, that's going to be great. And so I guess for today, I think that's it for today. So I will also as usual, open like any Q&A session. So guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Today, I'm going to focus on finishing the tutorial, so you guys, can set up the strategies yourself. So here you have the guide with the individual steps that you need to do to start a strategy, and I'll add some, video guide so you can then, check for yourself. And so you can follow the video, so it's a bit easier for you. So are there any questions before I go? So let me know. Otherwise, yeah, I still have like a long work day ahead of me, and I'll just go straight to the recording. All right, so I guess it seems that there are no questions. So guys, again, thank you very much for joining today's live stream. As usual, it's a pleasure. And like I'm very happy that I was able to show you, today's results and the dashboard. And I can't wait until you guys try it out yourselves and give me your feedback on these apps. So yeah, thank you for joining today, and I'll see you guys tomorrow again at 1 p.m. Prague time. Bye bye.